Hey everyone, it's Bob. Welcome back to the show. Today's episode of Elevate Your AIQ is a special one. I am joined by my friend and longtime collaborator, William Tincup. He's the co-founder of the WRKdefined Podcast Network, of which this show is a proud member, and he's one of the most recognizable voices in HR tech and recruiting. William and I go back a ways, so this conversation is equal parts insight and good fun. We talk about how podcasting has evolved from lonely creative pursuit to community-driven craft, and how AI is changing everything from content creation to discoverability. We get into personalization, privacy, and what it really means to optimize for AI. And in true William fashion, we end up exploring everything from use cases of digital twins to why reformed drug dealers would make good entrepreneurs. William's got a great story for you. It's an honest, fast-moving conversation about creativity, connection, and how technology both amplifies and tests our humanity. You don't want to miss this episode. Thank you for listening. Hey everyone, this is Bob Pulver. Welcome back to another episode of Elevate Your AIQ. Today is a special episode. I have Mr. William Tincup with me today. How you doing today, William?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for being here. I feel like we should have done this quite a while ago.
You're at like 80 episodes.
90, I think 90.
90?
90. For those who don't know William, who aren't in the sort of recruiting space, William, why don't you just give everyone a brief overview of your long and windy history?
Super brief. 25 years in HR tech, both studying the technology side and the practitioner side. And I've studied it, 4 or 5 different vistas. WRKdefined Podcast Network being the most recent and probably the most fun, if I'm being honest. And so it's just interesting as you do something, as you've done your show. I was with you when you first started your show. Once you get to a certain place, 50 episodes, 75 episodes, 100 episodes, whatever, you just kind of understand things better. When you start out, like if you were to go back and listen to episode 1, you'd be like, "Oh, it hurts." That's true of one's career. Every stop that you early at that stage, you're not going to know as much, and as you throw yourself more into it, you start to become knowledgeable. People treat me in different ways. Like if I'm talking to, let's say a UKG, they'll treat me like an analyst. If I'm talking to a conference, they'll talk to me like as an influencer. So I've got kind of a weird pedigree and kind of don't fit in one box. But I love practitioners. I actually love HR and recruiting practitioners. And because I've studied the technology for a long time, I've seen different waves of technology, all the way back to on-prem. So I've seen a lot of different waves and iterations of some of the same things. And as you're a subject matter expert in AI, we're just at the beginning stages of kind of seeing how AI impacts the practitioners and work in general. So I'm really excited, actually. I think it was Deloitte, a report I read by Deloitte, and I might have told you this all in Slack or something, but the quote was, "We're in the first inning of a 1,000-inning game." Only a consultant would say something like this. However, it kind of makes sense. It kind of like what we're talking about now. It's like, we won't be talking about that in a year from now, maybe not even 6 months from now. So it's fascinating to see how fast things are going.
Yeah, I do often reflect on some of those older sort of technology waves, right? And part of this is my own reflection, and as well as the reflection I've done as a result of having these conversations with guests, but also, having kids and thinking about what they're learning, what they're not learning, their preparedness for the workforce and whatever it is that they choose to do. I think back to, when I first had a computer at home, when I first had a computer in school. So there was life before the internet, people.
Turns out.
And so even before, I was putting a resume together coming out of school, like pre-internet. I mean, if there was internet, it was like Prodigy, like, whatever. So AOL hadn't even started sending out those CD-ROMs yet, right?
You've got mail.
And so I think about what the technical or hard skills that you put on the resume. Like, do you know how to use a computer? Do you know how to use, I don't even know if Microsoft Office was out at the time. It might have been like
the skills,
Lotus Smart Suite or something.
Yeah, the skills part of your resume had Excel and Word.
Right.
Lotus Notes.
My first job at IBM, they actually tested my typing speed and accuracy.
I would not have fared well in that competition.
Yeah.
I would have. My wife, absolutely, she's killer because she took typing class. I took typing class, but I didn't really like participate that much.
Yeah.
But she took it, so she would type up my papers because she was just like crazy speed. It would take me forever to type that stuff up.
Yeah. So I think about the skills we need to maybe in some cases unlearn, but certainly a lot of skills we need to learn. And to your point about, the show and the evolution and the learning experience, I mean, yeah, I'll probably be embarrassed when I go back and listen to the first couple episodes, but
there isn't a podcaster that doesn't do that. It's also writing, like when we were blogging. If you go back to, if you had a blog, whether or not it's popular or nothing, if you went back and read your second blog post, you'd literally start to cry. Like, can I delete this? Can we let this go? And the answer is no, because it was good for SEO. So you just dealt with it.
Yeah. So, and now, I mean, that's even that SEO. So, I mean, people aren't using traditional search engines anymore. So what's the new sort of metric that people are tracking? Is it AI optimization?
I got schooled.
Yeah.
I got schooled in August at a podcast conference of all things on PSO, podcast search optimization, which is optimization for AI.
Okay.
So you're basically optimizing an episode because no one reads descriptions of shows. The thought is that, oh, you're going to look at the title and you're going to look at the description. No, no human does that. So, but for ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or anybody that you like to, your favorite AI, people search for answers to questions and solutions to problems. And so you have to optimize the title, subtitle, plain title, description in a different way. And I know you know this because you've built your own prompt for this. That's how people are searching.
Yeah.
Like I use ChatGPT a lot. So when I'm in ChatGPT, I'm asking a question different than the way Google. I was in Google. It's keyword optimized, and of course they have Gemini on top of it. But I wasn't searching for necessarily an answer to. I was asking like a place. Where can I find this thing? Whereas I want to have a conversation now, because I've been taught when ChatGPT just came to market, I want to have a conversation, not a search.
Yeah.
And so I think that for me, the big change there is for anybody that's still thinking about keyword optimization or search optimization for browsers and search engines, I think they're missing, because you really need to be optimized for AI,
right,
and focus on being optimized there so that you get found.
Yeah, I mean, this in itself is one direction we could take this conversation, because as I think about, being more discoverable with the show, right? As I think most of my content as it relates to the show is audio. But as I think about, a video strategy, it is that discoverability. I don't have to be, Joe Rogan or, some, super, millions of listeners or whatever. Although I think millions of people would find this interesting and relevant for all the reasons we talked about before in terms of, AI readiness and things like that if you're going to be in the workforce. But I think about, some of it in terms of optimization and discoverability and these keywords or whatever. I guess I have like a cynical view of it all, because you're just like, how can I manipulate an algorithm and or people's brains to watch this content?
Well, first of all, the way I look at that is, are you doing something negative? Are you selling Cialis through the internet? Like if you take it back to email marketing. If your email is value, and maybe you don't know the person, or maybe you do, maybe they signed up, maybe they didn't. We'll put all that stuff aside for a second. If it's of value, you're not doing anything wrong, morally or ethically. Maybe, legally with can spam, you might be touching some of the edges there. But I think it's a game of optimization, because you're trying to educate. You come in peace.
Yeah.
So the content is actually value add as opposed to spam.
Yeah.
And I think that's where for me, that's where the line is. is this content that will really help people? And if so, optimize it, play the game,
Yeah.
make sure that you do. So I don't look at it cynically in that sense. It's like, this is good content. People will love it if they find it.
Right.
If they can't find it, that's my fault.
Yeah. So I think we talked about this with the network the other day. So just so the listeners know, Elevate Your AIQ is part of the WRKdefined Podcast Network, of which William is a co-founder and sort of runs the show, or runs the
Something.
network of shows, I should say. And so the hosts have been socializing, let's say, and sharing tips and referring, potential guests and things like that. So just one or a couple of the many, benefits of being part of the network. And so there's a lot to learn from each other. I mean, there's some really well known. Definitely go to workdefined.com and check out the list of shows, because it's a pretty impressive breadth and depth of talent and content. WRKdefined.com.
Bob,
Yeah.
one of the things I tell people when I'm talking to them about new shows or potentially joining a network is like, independent podcasting is a very lonely trek. And some people are set up for that. They're just like, that's cool, I can handle it. And some people have, being a part of a network or just being part of a community, you got other people that you might not even know that well. And you might not have listened to their podcasts every day or every week or something like that, but like you could just bounce ideas off of them.
Yeah.
And I like that. Because like we have stuff that's public, like in the channels and threads, but the stuff that we don't see is the things behind the scenes where so-and-so is talking to so-and-so and they're talking about technology.
Yeah.
Like, what are you using? Your video is really clear. Your audio is really clear. Like, what are you using? Because mine's not that great.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's going to grow. The more shows we add, the more hosts we add, and maybe even more production staff we add. I think we'll be able to handle more of those conversations.
And I think there's just such a wide variety, not just thematically in the content across different sort of work and talent like contexts, but like personalities and styles, like literally not just the delivery and the way you host and the format, but like how you do the visual components of, when you are producing video. Like I gave Tiana Neal accolades for just the way she had certain highlights that would pop up with, overlays and just the framing. I mean, you can see here, I'm just sitting here in my home office, but there's other things obviously I could do with the background and promotions and stuff.
And everybody's experience. I mean, when you talk to them, just separately, every one of them are trying to do something else. They're trying to do something new.
Yeah.
So they're always kind of innovating. They're always kind of like, I need to, like HR Huddle, which is 2 podcasts in one. They publish off week, so every 2 weeks. And there's 2 shows under one brand, if you will. They updated their podcast art.
Okay.
And you would think like, okay, that's not that big a deal. But when you look at the old art against the new art, and it's like, yeah, they went up a couple levels. Like this looks like really, really, really good podcast art. And it's little things like that they're trying to just get better.
Yeah.
And so it isn't stagnant. That's one of the things I love about it is shows will come and they'll try something, and that maybe that doesn't do as well as that they wanted. No, they'll try to just keep trying, keep innovating, keep doing different things. I'm having the most fun watching everybody else's shows and seeing, because I'll see it in the podcast art, I'll see the episodes or having, guests on and doing different things. It's like, I love that. I'm learning.
One of the other things I like about being a podcaster and podcasting about AI and automation is I'm sort of learning and tweaking my own stuff, which is how, I guess it's one way that I'm sort of trying to listen, heed my own advice and lean into it, right? Because everyone's got, some type of, workflow, some personal, systems, or they're trying to find some systems that work for them and trying to offload things that they don't really want to do, but maybe seems overwhelming to start to build a whole support, team around it. What are, just like if you were in a big organization, start to break it down task by task and say, do I like doing this? Is it too time consuming? Is my time better served doing some of these other things? And so when you're doing a podcast, I mean, for those who haven't really thought deeply about this, it's like, you've got to find guests, you've got to engage with guests, you've got to research guests and potential topics, you've got to,
Right.
so there's all the sort of pre-show kinds of things, making sure they know exactly what to expect. And then, there's the actual conversation, of course. And then you get into, post-production with not only video editing and audio editing and things like that, but how do you then promote the episodes to which channels? Is that automated in some fashion? Have you outsourced it? But there's opportunities for, automation and some use of AI tools throughout this, and not even just text. It's some of it's obviously, video and audio content. There's visual. There's, creative aspects to, the way you're promoting the show, the overlays and other things you might add to, the video content itself. There's just a lot of elements and a lot of opportunity to embrace that technology that talk about every show.
All throughout
So
that workflow that you just
yeah,
outlined, there's parts that can be used AI
yeah,
infused,
yeah,
let's say. And you and I, we both use Riverside as our production house. And over the last year, they've introduced a lot of new AI tools within the production
yeah,
house. So you can click on Magic Audio, and instead of sending that to a sound engineer, which is what we used to do, it's already done.
yeah.
It says studio episode, and it takes out all the ums and ahs and pauses and all that type of stuff. And you and I, you have built your own AI prompt to fill in the things that go into Megaphone or Host, the clean title, subtitle,
Yeah,
title, description, all of that stuff. You've already got that. Now it's just cut and copy. And at one point, you and I know that will be included in Megaphone.
yeah,
Upload your transcript, and it'll optimize and already fill those things out
yeah,
for us. It's just a matter of
yeah.
time that they'll do that inside of Megaphone. But right now, we can do it through our AI tools. Ryan uses Marbleism as an AI. It's a virtual employee type
Okay,
deal. And so he uses that on the marketing side for episodes.
okay. Interesting.
So after an episode is done, then the Sally or Jim, whatever, then takes it and then does a series of workflow things that Ryan's programmed it to do.
Okay.
So it's like AI. I mean, you're studying it on such a level. The AI, I see it being infused in your entire
Yeah,
workflow. There's still the human. You're still recording. You're still talking
yeah,
and interviewing, but almost everything's for grabs there.
yeah. I mean, I have definitely. I think the tools are getting better. I would say it would be obvious that AI was doing all those things if I didn't intervene. So I'm definitely
Right.
still the human in that loop, as they say. And so I'm just very particular about.
Hello, this is Michael Vandervoort from the Drive Through HR podcast, where we discuss ideas, trends, and activities that impact HR, talent, HR technology, and the workplace. Our focus is on expanding knowledge and igniting curiosity as we hear directly from people who are shaping the future of the HR industry. Join us.
It's pretty good about the tone, but just the style of
Right.
writing. And so I do go back and forth, but you're right. I do have a custom GPT that handles a lot. It knows who I am, what I do, and the style of the show. It knows what I like to see in my suggested titles and subtitles. But even some of that, I've got to remind it sometimes. So it does. It's not. I wouldn't call it a hallucination. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a hallucination, but it's
Come
definitely
on now. Come
forgetting.
on.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
does forget its system instructions, right? And so
100%. I've had to do that bit in ChatGPT where I kept asking it to do this
yeah,
bit. And then finally I'm like, are you
right,
okay? Are you having an off day? Because, like, what's going on? Here's the bit.
yeah,
You've done it
yeah,
hundreds of times for me. Like, what are you doing? What was great is it gave me the response like, I'm not having a bad day. I've kind of lost my track of thought, this, that, and the other. Like,
yeah,
it's like, I mean, it really was like a human exchange, like an employee type of exchange. And I loved it because it owned it. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
these aren't really great answers. Because I've spoken a lot in conferences and webinars and blogging and all that type of stuff. The first thing I had ChatGPT to, when it first came out, is I had to write my obituary. So that was the first prompt. It was like, write William Tincup's obituary and find out 500 words are left. And it is with deep sorrow. And it does the whole bit. I woke my wife up. She was sleeping. And I woke her up. I'm like, hey, here's the deal. When I die, you don't have to write an obituary. All you got to do is, I'm showing her. She's like, okay, that's dark. And I want to go back to sleep. All right, good. But like, one of the things I like, because the more you're kind of public, the more it knows you, both privately and publicly, the more it can represent you. So I'm blessed in that sense, where I will ask it to write it from William Tincup's perspective. And then it'll write, sarcasms, a lot of dark humor, all that type of stuff. And then it'll always ask at the end of it, would you like me to go further?
Yeah.
Yes. And then it does the bit again. Would you like me to go further? Yes. And then by that time, probably the second or third time, it's me. Like I can't tell the difference between, if I would have wrote that, I would have wrote, that's what I've written. Like, it's crazy.
Your wife would probably categorize this as dark as well. But when you eventually pass, hopefully very far from now,
in
would
90
she
years.
be comfortable communicating with you, with your digital twin?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think hopefully by that time, I think it's normal. Like, I used to think about, okay, what happens when you die with LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Or Facebook or Twitter or any of those types of tools. And now I just think that those become content. They become digital kind of points that are referenced in the future. So that, your sons and daughters and wife and, all that other loved ones can then kind of interact with you. So I hope that. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a way to turn that off. Okay, cool. For those that don't want that. But for me, if I'm dead, people want to interact with essentially what would be me. Yeah, knock yourself out. I mean, I'm dead. So
I think people just need
care as much.
recognize what technology will allow right now. So I have a digital twin, but it's very much from a professional perspective, right? It's not it's the work side of me, and it's pretty good. It's seen my professional writing, and I've been interviewed to feed that content into it, but it wouldn't right now. It wouldn't be something that my wife and daughter would necessarily interact with. But
so I'm back. Oh, good God, it's probably 2008. I had the personal and professional kind of approach to social. Like, there was two me's. There was the professional me, which was basically the same as the personal me. I just didn't mix. And then there was a moment in which I said, there's no such thing as personal and professional for me because of my personality. So I would post personal content on LinkedIn and professional content on Facebook. And I mixed all of my basics are tools to an audience. You can get to know me. And if you don't like it, cool, opt out. That's you. And so Instagram became kind of one of those things where I would just post stuff. If you look at my Instagram now, it's probably 6,000 posts. And some of them are about scouts. Some of them are about my family. Some of them are professional, where I'm speaking or something like that. It's like some of them are with me drinking bourbon and smoking cigars. Like, it's the totality of me. And that doesn't fit everyone. Like, I don't look down at people that kind of keep a line between the two, because everyone's got to do their own thing. But for me, and my personality, there's no line. It's just, if you know me and why that, it's very one dimensional. Like, if you meet me at church, I'm the same guy. You meet me at a soccer game, same guy. Scout meeting, same guy. At a conference, speaking, same guy. On a podcast, same guy.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm one dimensional
at all.
To a fault. From someone walking up to me, are they going to get the real me? Or are they going to get a version of me? No, they get the real me. And I like that because then I don't have to keep up with the different types of me.
Yeah. Well, this came up.
It makes it
back
easier for me,
when
Bob.
social media first came about, or at least when companies started realizing there were B2B use cases for social media. So I forget exactly when that was, maybe 2010-ish. And so I remember
Yeah.
being part of
Yeah.
like the program at IBM where people were going to start to basically work out loud, and it was okay to blog, and it was okay to be on Twitter, and you could say you were an IBMer, but you
Right.
also needed to say opinions expressed are my own, right? So we're not trying to split you down the
100%.
middle, but just be very clear. If you've got an opinion about something
Right.
random,
Yeah, cloud software. You've got a hot take on on-prem versus
whatever it was, it could have been a
versus the
work-related
cloud back then.
topic. It could have
You
been,
know,
talking about my, the whiskey I just had at my steak dinner or whatever. So, but yeah, they weren't
But yeah,
asking you
right.
to separate yourself into, here's, Bob Pulver _ IBM versus just Bob Pulver. Like this is it. We're people.
The irony of the statement, though, if you dissect it, like I have, opinions are my own. Whose else opinions would they be? You're protecting the
Private
company. I
cloud.
understand that, but again,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand why they drove that. I understand, especially conservative companies. I understand why they would put that, because they want to make sure that there's a way, a defendable position on saying, yeah, that was Bob. That wasn't us. I understand that. But the phrase of the opinions, the opinions are of me and not IBM or company A. Yeah, it's under your name. It's associated to you. So whose else opinions would you be taking? And I think that was all legal, actually. I think they were just needed risk management and one-on-one, an easy way to distance.
Right.
An easy way to say, yeah, I don't know what Bob's doing.
Right. But then it took
that's
on,
him. Don't
suppose, additional, as the programs there evolved, it was, we got into influencer management, and, can Bob or whoever, he's forming relationships with people in the industry who could, elevate our own brand. And so if I'm friends with, I don't know, Lee Bryant or Dion Hinchcliffe or, these other influencers in the market where they're talking about, everything that IBM was doing at the time around social business and social analytics and all this stuff, why wouldn't we nurture, that relationship, via Bob? He's helping draw attention to things that we're going to go out anyway. So why not allow that sort of amplification? And in some ways, it's not just that. It's, we had crowdsourced these social media guidelines from employees so that everyone was comfortable, but it was also an indication that they were treating us like adults. Like behave like an adult. You're out there putting on a public persona. It doesn't matter how many.
You still got the polo with the logo, so you can only go so far. Which again, I think when I look back at that era, I think the companies that did it like that, it fit their brand. And again, getting guidelines is good for everybody, because what is that? Strong fences make for good, big fences or whatever, make for good neighbors. Can't remember the quote or attribution. But again, if you don't have any of that, then people will think everything's fair game. And I think San Francisco, Silicon Valley in particular, that's actually what happened to them in that era, is there were no guardrails. And so people would do all kinds of crazy stuff, some really cool, and then some things, not so cool. And I think the companies that actually laid down some just guardrails, I mean, it's just basically saying, okay, let's not touch racial content. Let's take a political view, some stuff like that. Like, the guardrails are good. I think that's even to today. Guardrails are good. Now you can do it with a prompt.
Yeah.
And you can just say, don't go here and don't go here. Okay, good. And it'll keep you out of that. And I think we've evolved so much because we consume so much scrollable content now that it's all over the place. And the algorithm, you can train the algorithm to just for you. And there's a comedian, I think it's Ari Shaffir, I might be mispronouncing his name, but he watched on, I think it's TikTok, just nothing but puppies for a month. That was all. Every day he would search for puppies. Boom, puppies, and it was just puppy videos.
Sure.
And he did it.
Sure.
And after the month, that's what they kept showing him was puppies, right? So we could do that with content. We can actually, it's not going to serve up stuff that we don't want to watch. It knows how long we're watching that video and all that other stuff. So like, I like that. Like some people, they take a take sometimes with privacy, and I'm like, here's the deal. If you think you have privacy, let's have a side discussion. Because unless you're off the internet, disconnected from the internet, and you don't have a smartphone, your privacy is already shot. You can go on the dark web right now and buy an identity, a full identity, for $6. I'll tell you the website. I can literally tell you the website. $6. You want to move to Venezuela? You're trying to dodge going to jail? Yeah, it's there for you. So I view privacy as like, I don't have privacy. It's an illusion. And so I want the ads served up to me that I like.
I never talk about a future guest because I never know if someone's going to show up or blow me off or whatever. But Doc Searles, he wrote The Intention Economy.
I know the name. I don't know.
And co-wrote the Clue Train Manifesto, author, academic, and advocate for user privacy. So the Intention Economy was all about how do consumers take control? How do we flip the script, right? With this cookie nonsense. And, there's been some incremental sort of improvements there. You can check a bunch of boxes or whatever. And he's got this whole new initiative. He's literally in Silicon Valley right now hosting his own conference it's related to what he calls the agentic internet. So when you have an agent and they have an agent and these vendors have an agent and they're all communicating on your behalf, on each other's behalf, now is the time to say, listen, my agent isn't taking instruction from your agent, Mr. Vendor. It's my agent that's in charge. And I will tell you it's literally nicknamed My Terms. And there's now an ISO standard that just got approved for this. So imagine getting completely past cookies where it's not
legit.
Us agreeing to your terms, even with you letting me pick which cookies you allow.
It's the power dynamic of basically.
Here's what I want you to know about me. Here are my limitations. If you don't accept them, I don't want to see your freaking ads ever. Now, I'm sure there's an argument around how easy this would be to implement, right? To change how everything works now. But this is a significant, the fact that they have this standard or whatever, that's a significant hurdle that's been crossed. So I think he's targeting like 2030 to have this sort of really, take hold. But I mean, I love the premise. I am really looking forward to digging in with him on this topic and more. But it's really how.
So would you? I gotta ask you this though, and you'll have a better answer than I will. Do you want to see tampon ads?
Is that your question?
So what's your hobby? Like I collect coins. I love football, soccer, and I have a couple other hobbies that I love. The shirt manufacturer Poncho that's the shirts that I wear when I'm not wearing t-shirts. That's the shirts that I wear, and it's a Texas-based company, and I love it. I want to see ads that I love, which means that I have to give up data so that they serve up things, because I don't want ads that aren't interesting to me. Taking ads out of the equation that's not possible.
Do you have YouTube TV?
I do.
So are you now getting the thing in the corner of the ads where you're logged in and says, Bob,
I am.
Look how easy we make it for you.
Let us know.
Yeah, you want that? You want that Cialis? It's just a click away. You don't even have to get off the couch, right? But
if I could chop it up and snort it, that's the only reason I want it.
There's no reason why every household or user, even within the household, whoever's logged in to that broadcast, doesn't matter what channel it matters because of the way the advertising industry works, but but technically you could be, every single ad could be relevant.
To me, I think that's
Yeah.
good for everybody. There's no waste. Somebody serves up a tampon and that's not interesting to me. I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to buy it, etc. It's basically noise. But if somebody shows a coin collection show and I'm looking at that, I'm going to open it up and see where it is, when it is, and if I can calendar it, etc. So like, I agree. Consumption should be the game in advertising, is getting the ad in front of the right person at the right time, etc. And so they have to have data. And I think your vision of advertising is what I like too. It's like, let the person give it input on what not and what to. And then it becomes more relevant. Now you still might not take the action, but at least it doesn't blow your scrolling. Like you're going through something, you see an ad, it's like, really? Seriously? And it's, we joked about this yesterday during our session. It's like, if I hear another, what if I could tell you ad, I'm literally going to blow up, because it's so lazy. What if I could tell you? It's like, dude, seriously, just
it's either lazy or it's a misuse of the very technology that can move us forward. They both drive me crazy. But
imagine a world.
right now, it's the latter. It's this sort of misuse of technology. It's the snake oil. It's the scraping. Yeah. What if I could tell you, I could scrape every comment from every person who has a title of director of above, who's ever mentioned anything on any post with these keywords, and stick them into an outreach campaign for you or whatever. And it's just like, oh, that's already happening to me too. And I'm just going to give you a quick no, thank you. Because
I'm just scrolling past that.
Emails like, oh, I noticed you're following so-and-so on X, and have you ever tried It's like, oh my God. Okay, let's start with the fact that me following somebody who I've been following since, 3 cities and 8 jobs ago and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that is like the weakest of weak signals that I'm actually interested in that brand, let alone a user of that.
Hi, I'm Stacey Nordwall, host of Toot or Boot, the show that boots burnout culture and calls out corporate nonsense. Each week I talk with bold leaders and good troublemakers who are rewriting the rules of work. We dig into what's broken, what's working, and how to build something better, with a mix of practical advice and humor. If you're ready for a healthier, more human workplace, this is your show.
Product.
Well, there used to be a sales book at Kinko's, so this will date me, up at the front counter, and it was just a basic sales book. And one of its bit was, hey, I'll be in Philadelphia. And the bit goes a lot like this. The sales call goes like, hey, listen, I noticed that you're in Philadelphia. I'm going to be in Philadelphia next week. I was wondering if maybe we go get a sandwich or coffee, this, that, and the other. It was the relatedness kind of angle. Like, you're here, I'm from here. And if you did it from a calling perspective and you just wanted to call, you do the same thing. Hey, I noticed that you went to Temple. You know what? I went to Temple for a basketball game. I wonder.
It's so funny. I went to Temple for a bar mitzvah. We should get a drink.
It's exactly the same bit. It's the relatedness bit. And I remember having a sales team at the time do this bit. And at that time, this is late 90s, early aughts, it worked.
Yeah.
Because people would carry on the phone. Oh, no shit. I'm a Temple alumni. And what we give and this, that, and the other. You went to a basketball game at one point, which is a total fabrication, absolute fabrication. And then they schedule a call.
Yeah.
It's the same, like we're kind of seeing some of the same stuff. You're a mutual connection through LinkedIn. You know what? We have 45 connections in common. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is it, with those 45 people, I always look at it on Facebook and LinkedIn. I looked at the mutual and I'm like, I don't like any of these people.
Right. This isn't going to work out.
This isn't So why would I want to be connected to you?
It's not you.
Is the group?
It's not you. Yeah. It's not me. It's your network.
Yeah.
Can't do
Just stop serving that stuff up.
So I just, want to make one one point about, personalized, advertising and it should be relevant,
Right.
whatever. I'm not saying we should eliminate serendipity.
Right.
And there's a time and a place for, I've got this additional, context. And if I put these signals together, I get a stronger signal. Let's take a shot. Let's get Bob to maybe reach a little bit out of his comfort zone, or maybe he hasn't thought
Right.
about this since last October, but maybe it's related to, I don't know, the fall weather in New York. Who knows, right? But so I understand the dynamics of trying to strengthen that signal, right? So
Right.
that you can get the right targeted ad, increase likelihood of a click and what have you. But I just feel like with all of this intelligence that I've witnessed evolve since, I guess since, my big data, days at IBM, it just seems like there's still both complex problems as well as personally impacting kind of concerns that are still just not being addressed. And so I don't like when I see technology exacerbating.
Right.
You're still part of the problem instead of
Right.
part of the solution, and that's why I like solving, harder
Right.
problems and not taking these kinds of shortcuts, because I think to your earlier point, it just seems lazy.
Oh, it's absolutely lazy. In a perfect world, I would like for Instagram to not only be looking at what I'm posting or what I'm viewing. Those are kind of easy things. I would like for it to be looking at everything that I'm doing. I'd like for it to be looking at LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all the other things so that it serves me up stuff that maybe I only post over there, but would be relevant in Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like that Amazon bid. If you like this, you'd also like, these things that kind of that algorithm that they have to sell stuff. I would like that algorithm applied to outside of Instagram in this case, and find out more about me and throw those serendipity moments in front of me, because in LinkedIn, I might just be looking for certain things that I
So
never would do in Instagram.
yeah. So this literally came up like 2 days ago. I was DMing with someone over Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
It was a startup founder who had built this app, and I get those messages periodically, but this one was particularly intriguing to me because it was like trying to aggregate all of your like newsletters and other stuff into one place. So
Great.
think about it as almost like Flipboard a little bit,
Yeah,
but less
yeah.
visual. It's just like, here's content that I want to consume. I don't need every Substack newsletter. I mean, I must subscribe to, let's just say, at least 50 people on
Right.
Substack. It's probably a lot more, but each one of those, every time they post, I'm getting an email, right? So
Right.
let's immediately get those out of my email. But of course, I'm getting Substack notifications on my phone as well. So this basically says, okay, give me all your newsletters, whether it's Substack or otherwise, and then they have their own content sources that you can say, I'm interested in these topics, these
Oh,
authors,
cool.
etc. So all right, we're making progress here. But what I don't have is, because LinkedIn is a walled garden, I don't have any of the LinkedIn stuff in there. You're not pulling in what was Pocket, which was my Read It Later app that Mozilla just shut down. So now I switched
Right.
over to one called Matter.
Yeah.
So I'd like you to import my CSV file from the Pocket, Read It Later thing, and now from Matter. So you got to pull all that in, and then, oh, by the way, I have 20 Slack communities, and I have 10 communities on the Circle community
Yep.
platform, and I have 5 on the Mighty community platform. I need that all together, and then I need some insights across it to
Synthesize this.
synthesize it,
Yep.
right? So because at that point, there's more than anyone could consume in a lifetime. So I need the aggregation, but I also need the curation
Right.
based on context and, here's what I'm about to do. Maybe it's a use case. I mean, some apps do this, like you want to listen to something. Let's say, what are you doing? I'm going for a walk. Well, it knows that you want to listen to a podcast when you walk, but when you're driving, you want to listen to music and stuff like that, right? So these personal preferences are not necessarily app specific. And so if I was confident in the privacy of all of this, I would gladly let you aggregate all of this, give you access and aggregate all of this for
Right.
me and help me learn when I want to learn, relax when I want to relax, and understand my intent and the context and all of those things. And so to me, that's something that would be valuable to almost anyone. And I just haven't seen anyone. So
No,
this new app is on its way. It's still very early days. And I know they have a lot of, I'll tell you exactly what it is so I can give them a little plug. It's called Perch,
Oh, cool.
Perch, and it's aggregating. So I still need to play with it some more, but it's a nice way to, sort of pull it all together, because yes, I'm doing a lot of reading on Substack right now, but there's plenty of other sources
There's got to be
of content.
There's got to be a better way for, as you said, curation.
Yeah.
I think of it back to when I was in business school 100 years ago. They said executives, for executives, they can't read more than a one-pager, and they shouldn't have to. So you've got a 15-page business case for whatever the bid is. You serve up the one-pager first. If they want to read more, great. But the first is the executive summary. And the irony is, this is actually what we need with content, audio content, video content, the written content, all of that stuff is we need that bubbled up to one page or one thing to where you can just consume it and go, okay, if I have questions, I can go back and look at references and I can do all that stuff. So,
yeah,
but you just don't have time.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I'm excited for is companies like Perch is going to be able to say, give me my time back. I could go to every one of those Substacks or I could read every one of those Substacks, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I should get what I need to get out of it. Like, what are the most salient points? Give me 2. That's it.
Yeah.
And I just want 2 points. So you do your work. You do your work. Give me the 2 most salient points. Great. Then do that with all of them. And then now when I consume it, I've consumed the most salient points of all of those things.
Yep. The other thing, just before I forget, the other thing that Perch is trying to do is say, we don't want, trying to support writers, content creators, right? And they're saying, look, I know you might be, selling these, premium, readerships and subscriptions and stuff like that. And I don't want you to lose an opportunity to bring in money. But if you're willing to share your content that is currently only for paid subscribers, if you're willing to sort of take that lock off, we will figure out how to basically get you paid through, using us as a sort of intermediary. But they're trying to knock down those walls while also making sure that people get paid for creating great content, which I thought is
smart.
I don't know how the numbers, work out necessarily, but I will tell you right now I'm a free subscriber to all of those Substacks. But if I actually read even half of those with a paid subscription, I mean, do I take out a small loan just to read my Substacks? I mean, it's just it's not realistic that I would pay every source $50 to $100 a year to read. I mean, it's kind of insane, right, to think about.
Yeah. What you've stumbled upon accidentally is the lesson of drug dealing. And the lesson of drug dealing is you got to give them a taste. Once you give them a taste,
that's how you get them hooked.
That's how you get them hooked.
Yeah.
These content creators, they don't understand that game. It's like, do you want to subscribe to my super excellent content? It's like, dude, this is crack sales. You gotta give them a couple. And then once you do that, you don't have to sell. They buy.
Yeah.
Same thing in content. No one likes to hear it phrased in that way because I think it's taboo. It's not taboo. It's just business. I mean, most of the people, I used to do this business case competition in prisons in Texas.
Seriously?
So me and a bunch of executives, we'd go down to Hamilton unit down by A&M, and it was once a month. And then these guys were in a program, in like a light MBA program, and they'd, pitch us on their business, kind of like Shark Tank. They'd pitch us on their business and then we'd all kind of grade them out, tell them things that they need to do. And these were guys, it was guys because it was a guy prison. These were guys that were like 3 months from release. And the businesses weren't super intellectual. However, they're just businessmen.
Yeah.
Like most dope dealers, if they could channel that into like something else other than dope, all the parts of business are there. Supply, distribution, marketing, sales, like all of that stuff that's in a business is also in that business.
Yeah.
It's just channeled in a way that we don't like.
Yeah.
But it's all business.
Really
These content creators, if you could just kind of, talk to them and say, give them 5 posts. Let them consume your great stuff. And then after that, if you want the 6th thing, you got to buy it.
Yeah, no, I
I
on
see.
a certain level, it makes total sense, but it kind of went off the rails there a little bit.
No, I'm just telling you. You can learn from anything.
Well, I mean, I was actually going to dig into what you were talking about with the pitch competition, because I do think that AI can help with this sort of leveling
100%.
of
Recidivism. Yes.
access, and we've known forever that good ideas can come from anywhere, and as long as they get the right visibility and have people with open minds and potentially wallets, you can really make something. And so I think about that. We won't have time to go too deep into that today, but I think about that a lot when I think about untapped talent, and that could be that could be in both the current workforce and the future workforce and all of these disadvantaged
100%.
population.
I mean, mental health, being in prison. There's 70 million Americans that have a felony. Now, I'm not talking about the folks on the far end of that do really dark stuff, murder and rape and all that type of stuff. But the other people that don't do those things, there's people that want to change.
Yeah.
They literally want to change and be not that person that they were. What are we doing to actually solve that problem? Really trying to solve that problem.
Right.
I think AI has a place in there. I think it does. I don't know who's tackling it or how they're going to tackle it, but there's talent there, to your point.
Yeah.
Special needs, there's talent there. There's talents in different places, and it's like we need that talent. So how do we activate them in a positive way? And I mean, bad players and bad actors are going to do bad things.
Yeah.
News 11. Like that's just going to happen. We can't change that.
Right.
And that's not just criminals. That's just people in general. If you're a bad actor, a bad player, you're going to do bad things. Got it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we withhold that from them as a community. And just because they've made a bad decision or 2 or 3 bad decisions, we don't give up on them. We shouldn't give up on them. We should find a way. I did it for 3 years, Bob, and it was the most fun I did professionally, because now it is terrifying, I would tell you. Hearing the jail cell click, and not having your keys or your shoes or like literally you're looking around and there's orange jumpsuits, and it's like, well, let's see how this 2 hours goes.
Yeah.
But the guys were so excited, and these are not guys that I interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
They were so happy. Like it was just I've managed or been on panels for a lot of startup competitions, but there was nothing like these, because they just, Mr. Tincup, quick question on, this bit. And it's just like, all right, yeah, Jorge, here's the bit. All right. So when, you're creating a tree pruning service or whatever the business concept is, it's like marketing. How would you market this? What are you going to do to get your name out there? Because you've got a service that needs to be consumed and they want to consume it. So how do you get it out there? How do you use referrals? They were so excited because they hadn't thought of these things.
Yeah.
They hadn't been taught these things in that way. And so, man, I had so much fun with it. I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but it was terrifying on the closing of the jail cell.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
And exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk in sort of generalities about AI in general. Yeah, it could lift people up. It can augment, their thinking. But I mean, you personally, you could literally, that's a case for your, sort of professional, digital twin. Like if they had access to that, even through voice, right? They don't even need access to like any significant computing power or whatever, but just to interact, like if it was, William instead of, Alexa on their phone,
Right.
not the current Alexa, the new Alexa that's coming.
Yeah, new Alexa 2.0.
But yeah, just to be able to bounce. I mean, Ray Dalio was just talking about how he's super excited about his own digital twin because now he can provide, he
Right.
can basically democratize access to him and his
Yes.
brain. And he's already thoroughly tested this. And, there's other platforms like Delphi, DELPHI that allow you to create this, digital twin, scale your advice
Yeah.
and things like that. And so I just think you give these people access and then you bring them into competition. You've given them the learning experience, you've given them the feedback, you've augmented the way that they are thinking, and now you get a better quality pipeline of ideas from a place that you didn't even suspect or
we're not mining.
prioritize.
We're not mining that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you dig into prison work. It's like, are we trying to rehabilitate or are we trying to punish? And I kind of come at it depending on the crime. So pedophilia, rape, murder, there's certain things that, there's no coming back from that. Sorry.
Yeah.
You just bust rock, make concrete, whatever, do something that's hard labor. We want to punish you as a society. All the other folks that aren't there, we should be trying to make them, we should be real legitimately investing in them to be the next and add value to our lives. And we're not, by and large, we're not doing that.
William, as always, fantastic conversation, and we're going to have to
Part 2
purposely end it. Otherwise, we'll keep going. So thank you so much, William. And thanks everyone for listening. We will see you next time.